More or less. A medical research is a search for some new and valuable knowledge, usually called its objective. It's the search mediated through a series of actions, usually called specific aims. Being the purpose of the research, the objective is paramount. Being some new element of knowledge, the objective will be a noun, not a verb. Being valuable, some people must want it and need it, and we would want to know at the outset who, and for what, and how much. If we spend our time to get it, and we're going to need money to support the effort, how are we going to justify our time, and how are we going to convince people to give us money if there's no need? Well, being new knowledge, one wants to be sure it is not already recorded somewhere. Sure, we can't just look it up. I look where I can for it. I ask people. If I find it, scholarship will suffice. If not, we need to go get it. As a last question, we should think about plausibility. Is it likely to exist, this new knowledge? Are we the people who can find it with the methods and the techniques that we have available? One tends to present research in a top-down manner for clarity, from objective to aims. But scientists have agile minds, and an objective and its aims may all occur to someone simultaneously or even out of order. I make no claim to know how the mind works, but the order helps in exposition, here, in seminars, in grants, in papers, and that's why I favor it. There are three types of new medical knowledge. The first is a fact. One of those indivisible particles of knowledge, like bricks for a wall, or those shining tiles out of which a generation of craftsmen created the blue and gold mosaics of San Vital. We get them from the real world and record them for others to use. The second is a way we can do something. In medicine, a new test, a new treatment, a new way of practicing. Let's think about a new test for patients. Facts are in the world, so we can discover them. A new test is not in the world, so we can't discover it. We need to invent it, make it up. We don't always need to make everything up. We have instruments, we have other tests to model a new one on. But even so, we need to innovate, imagine a new test, dream it up. Then we need to make it and test if it will do what we want it to do. The third is to discover a way nature does something. As opposed to the facts in the world, this has to do with how those facts got to be the way they are. Let's think about an example. It is a fact that the rate of stroke rises with age. It is also a fact that systolic blood pressure rises with age. Years and years ago, a few scientists imagined that the rising systolic blood pressure caused increased stroke. There is no way to observe the causal linkage. You can observe the rates of stroke and you can observe the levels of systolic pressure, but you can only imagine that the one caused the other. Many thought the idea silly. Many thought it wise. But whatever their thoughts, the idea was powerful because it made a logical prediction. If rising systolic blood pressure caused rising stroke rates, then lowering systolic blood pressure must lower stroke rates. It did. Because, unlike facts and ways we can do things, causes are completely beyond our senses, howsoever aided by instruments. The truth of an imagined cause is known by the test of its predictions, and that truth forever in danger as new tests are done. A scientific research needs to meet the professional norms at the time. Most importantly, it is purposeful. The knowledge sought, the purpose of the research is set out at the beginning, and the purposes that knowledge fulfills, likewise. Another general norm of professional science is that it's methodical. The knowledge is sought by a series of actions, called the specific aims of the research, specified at the beginning in the research plan. These specific aims are verbs, actions taken to obtain the knowledge sought, called, of course, the objective, a noun. So you execute the actions, the aims, to get the noun, the objectives. The actions, the so-called aims, use methods and they use techniques. Methods and techniques arranged in a sequence of actions. Think about the recipe for a souffle. Techniques are skills for physically doing things, like folding in beaten egg whites. The methods, like the recipe for the souffle. Doing something after a way, a sequence of actions using specific materials. So, you follow the recipe, the method, and use what skills you might possess to make the souffle, the objective. I need to mention here that not all of the actions in a research are aims. In fact, many, if not most, are just tasks. Same for souffles. You need to buy the ingredients, which means you need to get in your car and go to various grocery stores. You need to make a shopping list. You need to gather your bowls, you need to gather your implements, you need to heat the oven, you need, for some recipes, to put a pan of water in it for the souffle. Aims are only those actions essential for the objective, the immediate causes of the souffle, as in the recipe. The final outcome, the new knowledge, and how it was obtained, must be preserved. And it must be preserved in a manner that others can understand and follow, so they could try to test if you did it right. It must be made public, and usually in a literary form called the scientific paper, which is increasingly online. Finally, scientific research is carried out within groups of people. The people share what Thomas Kuhn has called paradigms, successful discoveries that attract investigators to extend and elaborate them. For example, like systolic pressure going up with age and raising stroke. The people who are in this field sharing paradigms, research needs, methods, theories, they review each other's papers, they collaborate, they compete, and create what one might call a field. And this field of common interests has agreed on what it favors as research needs and how one gets through the day.